Today we're going to be talking about how we look at influencer income. So first of all, if you guys like this channel, hit the like. If you hate me, hit the hate. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Okay, so a lot of times people go, well, an influencer, it's not even a real job. Guys, it's a real job. It is a real job, and it's one of the largest growing segments of employment probably in the world right now. It is a legit job. And so a lot of times I'll talk to influencers and they'll be really uncertain. They'll be like, can I even get a loan? And I'm like, totally, you can totally get a loan. Here is what I'm gonna be looking for as the lender. Now, if you guys talk to another lender and they're like, we don't count that. That's not a real, they just don't know. They just don't get it. Like, I get it. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Tickety Talk. I'm on it all. I get it. I know how it works, okay? So here's what we're gonna want. We're gonna want 2 years filed tax returns. Now, I'm gonna urge you guys to get a tax accountant. Doing something like having a job as an influencer and trying to do your own tax returns, it is a recipe for disaster. Pay a tax accountant to do your tax returns. Use someone who is used to influencer income. I have to imagine that there is some chat group that has something on Reddit about who the best tax people are for influencers. Now look, if you are an influencer and you have a great tax person, drop their name in the comments. But I really have to advise, please have a professional do your taxes, because sometimes what I'll see is like literally they did the taxes themselves. They had no idea how to deal with the multiple streams of income. And that's what you have as an influencer. You've got, your ad revenue, you've got your partnerships, you've got sponsorships, you've got all these different forms. You might have also people paying you directly, right? There's a lot of that. Gifts, all this stuff that can come in from that job. And so you really want someone who knows how to treat it as income, but also who knows how to make it palatable to both the IRS and a lender. Right? Because if you set up, sometimes people try to be really creative and they try to set up all these different companies for their income, where they would be better off just having it as one big brand and doing the income that way. Okay? Because if you break it up into little brands and then you switch the name of something the next year on the taxes, I have to have a 2-year history of income. So let's say that one of the side things you sell is makeup. Right? And you call it at first XYZ makeup. And then next year you decide to call it ABC makeup. Well, guess what? Those are 2 different companies now. Yeah. Whereas if you just had Jane Jones influencer and all the income on 2 years, I'm not going to be dealing with the differences in the makeup naming and how that affects the brand, and if it's really a different company or if it's the same company, etc., etc., etc. So really work with an accountant that can help you guys do this. Now, as a lender, I'm going to be looking for 2 years of tax returns, filed tax returns. You have to actually file them. Now, I know you guys will, but I've had a lot of that happening recently where people are giving me tax returns that aren't filed. In order for us to use the income, they have to be filed. Okay? So I'm going to look at 2 years of filed tax returns, and I'm going to look at year to date potentially. So it's going to depend. I mean, really, you are self-employed, and that's the way to treat it. So with self-employed, we would be just looking at those 2 years. Now, if you're like, okay, but I'm making so much more money this year, can you use it? No. However, if your debt to income's on the high side and I need a compensating factor, then we would definitely look at using it. Okay, not to shore up the debt to income, but just to be able to show the underwriter like, hey, I know their debt to income's really high, but look, their brand is growing. They've already made XYZ this year. So I can't use the actual income until it is filed. However, I can use it as a compensating factor if you're on the edge. Okay, so the other thing that's important to know is we don't judge at all. Sometimes people are surprised because there's a lot of people that have opinions about what people do for a living. We think all of it's interesting. It depends, like, it doesn't matter what you're doing online or what you're selling. We think it's interesting, and I think that's important to say because there are some portions of being an influencer. I had a girl once where I'm like, okay, cool, what's your Instagram? She wouldn't tell me. And I think I ultimately found out it was because she was a bikini model. Guys, don't be embarrassed of that. Don't be embarrassed of that. Like, look, everyone everyone makes money in different ways. Like, that's way more honorable than the people who are ripping people off as mortgage lenders and real estate agents. That's way more honorable, right? At least you're not like doing financial harm to people, right? So it's really important that you guys know we do not judge what you do. We understand the way that the income works, and the key is going to be having those tax returns, okay? What else? Stack cash. I love it when everyone stacks cash. If you're an influencer, usually you have a good amount of cash coming in. So save. Because you never know. Like, what if a brand deal changes? What if suddenly the metrics change? You know, there is more instability potentially because you are dealing with something that is totally tied on consumer whims, you know. But as I say that, it's like same with real estate income, same with being a mortgage lender. It's all tied to what people are buying. So realistically, as long as we've got those tiers, tax returns, yes, you should stack cash. You should stack cash no matter what you do. We don't judge what you do online. And please have professional tax returns done, or just do them right, because I see so much stuff where I'm like, oh my God, you made $500,000, but somehow you wrote it down to -10 and all of this looks like fake write-offs, like you're gonna get audited. So be careful, guys. Questions, comments, as always, reached out. I am licensed in 48 states to do mortgages, so everywhere but Rhode Island and Utah. So if you have questions or comments, guys, get on my calendar or text me or shoot me an email. Whatever's best for you guys, I am here to help. Thanks for watching.